Every rose has its thorns, and when it comes to the environment, those thorns really start to add up.
30 cargo flights a day is how many need to take off between Colombia and Miami in the weeks leading up to Valentine's Day
to supply 15,000 tons of flowers in time to meet the demand for February 14th.
Those flights in the 3 weeks leading up to Valentine's Day produce 360,000 metric tons of carbon dioxide.
And because these flowers need to stay cold once they land in the US,
they're loaded into diesel-fueled refrigerated trucks,
which use 25% more fuel than non-refrigerated ones.
And with 82% of flowers in the US being imported,
this means your bouquet helps the transportation sector contribute nearly 30% of the country's total greenhouse gas emissions.
Emissions that trap heat in the atmosphere and make our planet warmer.
Transporting flowers from South America to your doorstep is environmentally taxing. But the impact of your bouquet doesn't end there. How you discard those flowers can make a big difference. I talked to Becca Fong with Seattle Public Utilities to see what parts of your flowers packaging are and aren't recyclable, and whether or not there's a market to sell that recycled product too. Let's start with that plastic film wrap around the flowers.
Fortunately, even though it's made out of plastic, not all plastics are created equal. Something like that plastic film sleeve is too thin and flimsy to actually be sorted by the machinery properly. So it ends up getting mixed in with paper, and obviously it's not paper. So that's why it's not something that you can throw into your recycle cart.
What about that plastic fork that holds the greeting card?
Actually, anything that's smaller than 3 inches will fall through the edges of the sorting machinery. Every facility is set up a little bit different, but they all have kind of similar equipment. So it's too skinny, and so it'll kind of fall through the edges.
Okay, what about the decorative balloon?
The Mylar balloons are made out of all kinds of different plastics. All of those things are made out of a lot of different materials. So that's also another issue. The purer you can sort the material into to different types, the more valuable it is.
So, can you recycle the ribbon that holds everything together?
It would be impossible to sort. It's too small, very similar to the plastic stick. It's going to fall through the machinery.
Okay, let's end on a good note. Those greeting cards?
Those are made out of paper, and when you throw that in there, the way that the machinery sorts it, it's going to capture that card and be able to pick it up, which is really great.
When you think about how we use flowers, it really starts to seem pretty wasteful. You buy a bouquet, it lasts maybe a week, and then you throw them away. But for scientists, flowers offer a great opportunity to think outside of the box and into your closet.
So flower down is an alternative to the material that you would put inside of your winter puffer jacket. So the stuff that makes you warm and cozy.
That's Dr. Amanda Parks. Her team spent a decade working on ways to reduce our carbon footprint using an unlikely natural resource, wildflowers.
Traditional downs are usually made from animal products like goose down or synthetic fossil fuel-based fills. So what this is a vegan alternative to that. It's completely natural and compostable, and it's made from a particular kind of waste wildflower that grows naturally as a weed, and then that's combined with cellulosic aerogel, a very high-tech material, and a biopolymer. So together that makes a formulation that is fully compostable, but with the same thermal properties and the coziness that you get from regular down products, like in your puffer jackets. Existing animal down has environmental and ethical issues. The ethical ones being, of course, using animal products and some kind of horrible practices like live plucking of geese. But also the alternatives, which are synthetic, come from fossil fuels. And part of our mission as Pangaea is to rid the fashion supply chain of fossil fuels. This is the quickest way that we can make change in terms of greenhouse gases and climate change.
And it's not just the fact that they're using wildflowers that makes the product sustainable, it's how they source the wildflowers too.
We use wildflowers that grow natively across the northern plains in North America. They grow naturally and regeneratively. They can be picked in a process and in a way that they regenerate their own harvest. And they also are a natural habitat for the monarch butterfly, which is about to go in the endangered species list. So the more that we can plant these kind of scatter seeds around, the more we're actually helping the habitat of endangered species. And we're also providing, a raw material that grows without cultivation, without pesticides. So this is one of the ways that we're kind of looking at how do we use natural products, like, how do we use the natural qualities of plants to solve some of the issues that we really need to around climate change to reduce the impact of the fashion industry.
This means that once the jacket has been thoroughly worn and is at the end of its closet life cycle, it won't add to the 11.3 million tons of textiles Americans throw into landfills every year, because it's designed to compost under the right conditions.
It is important to point out that they will not degrade in your closet or while you're wearing them. And we've engineered Flower Down to be long-lasting, to be durable. That's part of what the high-tech formulation is. The point is that because all the materials in it are bio-based, there's nothing fossil fuel-based, when it does end up in a compost facility or in landfill or whatever happens to it after it leaves your closet, it will not live, in the ocean for thousands of years in the sort of way that our plastic bottle problem has become so crazy.
Park says Flower Down is part of a push for high-tech naturalism, where 21st century technology and the environment are combined to create solutions. And if you're trying to disrupt old ways of thinking or help a new trend catch on, there's really no better place than the fashion industry.
We really hope that this is the kind of change that the rest of the fashion industry can emulate, partly because as these technologies and innovations grow, they become more economical, and we can start to, as we scale them, as we get better at production, this can become the norm. This can replace all the processes that are damaging the environment, and we can start to have a truly sustainable future in fashion while still having the kinds of diversity of looks and brands that we all love.
Flowers may smell sweet, but their impact on the environment stinks.
Here are 5 great ways to let someone know you're thinking about them that nip pollution in the bud.
Number 1, weed out cut flowers by giving potted plants instead. A potted plant will last a lot longer than a cut bouquet, which makes it all the more meaningful to that special someone. To make your gift even greener, look for potted plants that were grown locally to cut back on the carbon emissions from shipping and transportation.
Number 2, spread the love with a clipping from one of your plants. Propagating plants from clippings is easy and super trendy. There's no better way to show someone you're thinking of them than by giving a piece of one of your own favorite plants for them to love.
Number 3, opt for local or fair trade. Sometimes there's no avoiding buying a bouquet. If you're planning to send flowers, making sure the flowers are locally grown and in season will drastically cut down on your carbon footprint. And look for flowers that are fair trade, which ensures the workers who grew the flowers have safe working conditions and a fair wage.
Number 4, dedicate a tree in their honor. Whether you want to support reforestation in the Amazon or even in your home state, there are a ton of nonprofits that allow you to plant trees in someone's honor. Not only is this a gift that will far outlast any bouquet you could give, but it's a gift that is actually working to protect us from the impact of climate change.
Number 5, ditch the plants altogether. Support small businesses by buying local crafts instead of a bouquet. Check out farmers markets or street fairs for one-of-a-kind gifts like jewelry or art. If it's tough to let go of the traditional bouquet, you can always channel some flower power with an assortment of floral-scented lotions or candles.